Alright guys, I'm back. The last video was about the roof and the outside walls. After you get that done, you start working on the inside. I put a little porch up on that porch area so I could get in and out of the thing easier. The first thing you kind of have to do after you get the outside walls up is do the wiring. Figure out where all the wiring's going to go. Drill the holes, run the wires. Most importantly is figuring out where your wiring hookups are going to go. Where are you going to put your inverter box, your converter box, depending on whether you're running solar to help out or not. You have to buy the components for your electrical system and figure out where you're going to put them. I'm not running solar. I'm not running batteries. This trailer, you have to plug into a 30 amp circuit. So I didn't have a lot of wiring to do. I had to figure out where I was going to put it all, kind of mock it up, figure out how I was going to cover it. Once I got that figured out, I could start wiring the trailer. All the wiring had to get done before you put the inside walls up. Once you put the inside walls up, it's going to be really hard to wire anything extra. Once you've got the wiring ran through the walls, up where you're going to put lights in, all my lights are 12 volt. The converter has 110 coming into it from a 30 amp cord. The converter will split it, has two sides, a 110 side and a 12 volt side. I'm trying to run everything I can off 12 volt because it's less energy being used. The more you have running on 12 volt, the more solar is going to help you out later if you decide to hook it up. I ran a couple outlets, 12 volt, basically cigarette lighter outlets that you can buy lamps that'll plug in there. My lights are all LED, 2 porch lights, 7 interior lights. After you run your wiring, you can run your insulation. Put your insulation up in the walls, staple it down. I used R13 insulation throughout the whole thing. I couldn't use anything bigger because my walls weren't any thicker. If you try and compress insulation into a wall, it doesn't make it a better R value. It actually makes it a worse R value. So use proper insulation for your walls, for how thick your walls are, how thick your attic space is. I left a little air gap in my attic so that some of the hot air that gets up there would vent out through some of the vents. Started putting the walls up on the inside. The inside walls, I didn't use sheetrock because this is a mobile unit. The more it drives down the road, the more it's going to flex. That sheetrock is going to crack out. It's going to fall apart. So what I used was inexpensive plywood. Put your walls up, cut your holes for your electrical, get it all sealed, go through, do your taping, texturing. I happen to have a texture gun from converting a 2-car garage into a living room. If you go with the cans of spray texture, you're going to buy a whole bunch of those cans. It doesn't last very long. So it might be cheaper just to go out and buy a texture gun like I did. Mask everything off, all your windows, your doors, whatever you have to. Spray the texture on. You can always go back and knock, if you got little globules, you can go back and knock it off later. Once you get it all textured and it's all dry, you can pull your masking down. Let the air flow through the place. Get some of the fumes out of it. I painted the walls, the ceiling. So I painted the walls from like an inch to the ceiling down to the floor because I knew I was going to put crown molding up that would cover it. I went out and got some tall baseboards and some crown molding, and I pre-painted it before I put it in so it would be easier. I could go back and do touch-up later, but I wouldn't have to worry about painting and getting paint on my walls when I was painting my baseboards and my crown molding. So I pre-painted it, and then I put it all up. I also put trim around my windows, trim around my doors. After the paint was done, I knew where I was going to put my electrical, my fresh water tank, and I knew kind of how I was going to hide it. I was going to hide it with a couch. So I started mocking up how I was going to do that, basically building the couch around the stuff. I had the stuff laid out on the floor, build the couch up, then mount the stuff to the walls, drill the holes for where the water inlet's going to be, drill the hole for where the electrical cord's going to come in. I put some cabinets in. I found a really cool looking sink at a Habitat for Humanity, which is like a recycle store if you're not anywhere around where Habitat for Humanity is. It's a copper sink with some brass fittings on the bottom side of it, but it looks really cool. I built a countertop and put the sink in. I built little boxes to go around the end of the fender wells so that all the fender wells are covered. You don't see fender wells when you come inside the place. And then the couch covers up the water heater, the water tank, the electrical box. Everything gets concealed underneath that couch, and it's got a couple vent holes to the electrical box, and everything has some venting to it. So I got this couch off Craigslist. I used the foam out of it, made my couch, upholstered it in some vinyl I got from a fabric store, just wrapped it around, stapled it down, built a little armrest, put it all together. That's what covers my electrical box and my fresh water tank and my hot water heater. And there's also a spot under there for where the cord gets coiled up. When you go to transport the unit, you coil the cord up inside. After that, I put my composting toilet in, mounted it down to the floor. I used a little ingenuity when I was mounting that composting toilet. It's a Nature's Head composting toilet. It comes with little L brackets that go underneath the toilet to mount it. So if you screw the L brackets onto the toilet, get a little piece of something sticky, put a little dot on there, set the toilet where I wanted it, pushed down, then I unscrewed the brackets from the toilet and picked the toilet straight up. And that sticky stuff held those brackets right where they needed to be. So I marked it, drilled the holes, and then ran screws through the brackets into the floor. When I put my baseboards down where I was going to have carpet, I left the baseboards about a 1/4 inch up off the floor so you can tuck your carpet underneath them. Where I have laminate flooring, I put my laminate flooring down first, and then I put my baseboards down, and I left just a little bit of an air gap underneath there. I had to build a bathroom door. I built it out of, I believe, Douglas fir 1x6, and I stained it. And then I have my slide door that goes between the front part of the trailer and the back part of the trailer. It's more like a barn style door. There isn't really much left to this build. I hope it's been an informative set of videos. I hope you like it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll try and post another actual video walkthrough when I get everything completely touched up and done.